right, yeah. No one under the ground, them a go reside. You feel no semi, he's a man with pride. You can't go around but pussy, you can't hide. Now the tint up under, it sound like fruit. With me and out the window, you gon' sing a tune. Your brain fly from your end up in a Cancun. No R.I.P. in memory of a Cancun.
End up in a Cancun.
See it soon.
Yo, I'm a war and everything.
He said Cancun. It's like Mexico.
We don't, you know, we don't stress the details.
No stress. It's everything less. Yeah, I'll be like that, right?
Pick up the receipt. Let me have to go paint the cigarette from a wall. Then everything dead. A basement shell be a cup on it. So you get a new copy. Pick up the receipt. Now let me have to go paint the cigarette. Yo, God's entertainment. But them know say, we enough to play with. And we the girls them want to stay with. And we are them favorite. Yo, big up Pillar One done. And you have the trailer load of gun them when you run. When they bust them gun, they have
you think
used
that's really him? When you look at his face, do you think that's him?
No. His face is annoying, that's why I don't accept his friend request.
Word, that nigga look like a cartoon character.
Exactly. That's why I don't. No, rather not. This nigga be getting mad likes on his pictures. I'm like, I'm getting fucking 15, this nigga's getting like 40. I'm like, how does this make sense?
How? Word, nah, the nigga getting like mad backcountry likes, that's why. Even that be pissing me off, nigga. Like that, like I went to Trinidad, like no offense, right? Niggas be wearing fake polo in Trinidad and shit, right? Getting like thousands of likes and shit. When I was like concentrating on that shit. But when I was rocking the real shit, and like I got my gear up and shit when I came back to America too, like nothing. I'm like, dude, I'm rocking more better shit than this nigga right here that's weird like fake polo. But hey,
it doesn't make sense.
It's the backcountry. I fuck with the backcountry. That nigga, I think he used to make his own clothes. Or he used to buy it from like cookies or some shit. He used to buy it from some place, Justin, that was like around around the area. But if you look at this nigga's shirts, accept his friend request first of all, so you could just clown on him. You when you see this nigga's shirts, it's like, yo, this nigga got it from like Conway. You remember Conway's? Downtown Brooklyn.
Oh, Conway's.
The nigga got that shit from Conway's.
Yo, like, you remember we used to make fun of the Oospas?
Yeah.
And Tyler had the Oospas? Oh man.
My mom bought me some Oospa boxers.
He was like, Mom, this is, I'm gonna look real hypocritical if I go to school with this.
And that's one of those fucking bitches too. So,
you were talking to who?
I think I was talking to Rika at the time, so she laughed at the shit. She was like, you got the fucking Oospa? I was like, look, you see all the other things I wear and shit. You don't need to be clowning on this. This is underwear. He was like, I know.
You're supposed to be like, yo, fuck off.
I had got Oospa polos too by her, but I was like, I can't wear this. She's like, why? I was like, no, I'm wearing it. Like, I'm gonna wear it outside and shit, like to go on vacation and stuff. But like, I'm not wearing this in New York City, like to walk around. I'm sorry, I'm just gonna get clowned. But they lasted long. They're 1886, and they're like, you know.
Like that's the thing. Like, why do we make fun of it?
Cause it's two men on a horse. That's why. It's two men on a horse. That was the big thing about it. Like, polo had one guy on a horse, so it was like. But you know what? They don't get like the sport of polo. Us niggas don't get that shit. Like, you could have two people on a horse and shit. If you're playing competitive polo or whatever.
if I'm not like when I was younger, I'd make fun of it. But now that I'm older, like, okay, if it's comfortable, I'll rock it. Why not?
Yeah, yeah.
We got fucking Cassidy out here wearing Sean John in 2021, so it's just like, yo, like.
Nah, there's some girls that still wear that shit too. That still wear Sean
Yeah.
John proudly. I heard a girl on Adam 22 said like, "This is all Sean John," and I'm like, "Wait, what?"
This is all what?
She said that with confidence.
Yeah. All right,
No, but see, that's the good thing because you can wear that stuff. You can wear like apple bottoms, fucking baby fat. You can wear all this stuff.
Or if you're a woman, you can just get away with that shit if you're hot.
Yeah, because people would just be like, oh, they're vintage. Like they're trying to like bring back this old stuff. So yeah,
because they were trying to do the same thing with FUBU for a while. With that shit, like the streetwear people, they were trying to bring that shit back for a little while.
Yo, remember the Global Kids like conference? Where like there'd be like mad niggas in the school have to listen to classes and stuff. And I remember we was in Miss Davison's class and this guy was like, I think he was a cop and he was like a gang, like part of the gang intel or whatever. And he was like, here are the acronyms that you need to know. And he was like, FUBU, fuck you, blood's up.
Oh yeah,
I'm like, what? I'm like,
yo, this nigga was presenting mad 1990s information, yo. On Hassan's era, like, nobody using that term no more. Like, we're using slime and we're using, like, Damu and all that shit to call people blood and shit. We're using calling people FUBUs. He shows us a Transformer sign. You see this sign? This is the Decepticons.
Decepticons.
I'm like, dude, that gang was in the 80s. Like, what the fuck?
As you can see, it sounds like disciples. Jeez. It's like, alright.
Oh, you don't know that? Like, the Decepticons? They're like a real gang in the 80s.
Oh, were they really?
Yeah. Like, niggas took
We gotta bring that back.
Niggas took the whole Transformers,
Niggas watch Transformers. They can't say they didn't watch Transformers.
Nah,
and was like, alright, this is what we're gonna do.
The niggas is probably bagging up drugs and watching that shit. And it was like, oh, we're Decepticons, bro. Fuck that.
Hey,
Cause,
you bet.
yeah, I didn't believe it until, like, my dad was like, yeah, that's a real gang. Like, those are a real gang of people and shit. And I was like, really? Like, that's an interesting name. Then, one day I was driving my motorcycle around, and I drove past, some part of Town Heights, and I had a big Decepticon mural from, like, the 80s. That was still there.
Damn. You should have been around during that era, so you can be you can be a Decepticon. Were there Autobots?
Were there Autobots? Nah, they weren't Autobots, unfortunately. Well, I mean, if technically they were again.
Quite the crow's nest, huh? There it is.
Were the Decepticons like a set? Were they Crip just a different set, or were they an entirely? They weren't Blood Crip, none of that. They were the Decepticons.
There were none of that. They were just the Decepticons. Cause like New York City, their first colored gang, like, but when I mean by colored, I'm not like by like black, white, or whatever. I mean like for like bandana. I think was it's the Bloods, I think. But I think some GDs they let the GDs through the door. The GDs always enter through the door. Like, they always enter through the door. Because they like in Chicago, so like, to take that trip to New York City, they probably had some beforehand, before Bloods came up from the West Coast. Or from the jail. Shit. Well, from the West Coast to the jail, or whatever. But yeah, like, so like New York City, it was just like Decepticons. They had this gang called BMW. They had this gang that Thing was in, 50 Cent was in. Team Supreme. Yeah, that was a gang too. So like 50 Cent was like, he wasn't a Blood or a Crip. He was like the last member of one of those 80s gangs, the Team Supreme shit. They're still in New York though. Like all those 80s gangs. They're still here. But I think the Decepticons they got taken over by the Bloods. And it's so funny saying that name.
Decepticons?
Yeah, right? Like, I can't take it serious, like. But, they got taken over by the Bloods, I think, because, like, in jail, when the Bloods came, in the 90s, they took over everything. Then, like, the Crips came, like, in the late 90s or somewhere around then. Because I used to be confused, right? I used to be like, yo, why don't, like, West Coast people respect us? Because, like, I feel like we gangbang just as hard as them.
No, we don't.
Yeah, but we don't. They really have a different way of doing things down there. I'll even say it's more ruthless. Like, they have low tolerance for, like, a lot of bullshit.
Everyone's like, if it was New York and Cali, New York would win. Oh, you wouldn't.
They'll win in style. We will win in style and innovation, but, like, in terms of warfare, we're too pretty to get hurt in that shit, I think. I mean, we're gritty and we're cold. We grew up in the cold and shit, so, like, I think we will get some wins, like, you know. But in a shootout, I don't think we might win in shootouts. They will have the advantage, the West Coast people. Because you can leave LA and go get a gun license. Because, like, I think in LA, in, like, those inner cities, you're not allowed to have, like, guns. But, like, if you go out of the city areas where the gangs are, and your record is clean, you can get guns.
I want a gun.
Yeah, me too, but you want to do DMT? You gonna do DMT with a gun? No. Joe Rogan did it. You don't have to be near your guns when you do it. You have that in a safe or some shit. I was like, you'll have that in a safe, of course. I don't think you'll go after it. And I doubt you could, like, operate a safe when you're on DMT, so I think you'll be okay.
What if you see a whole bunch of shit, you're freaked out, and you're like, yo, I got a gun, I'm gonna kill these people?
I would be surprised if you remember the code on DMT with that. I would be very surprised. I mean, if it's like a number thing, I won't be too surprised. Because I think you could probably get around that, but if it's like a combination thing, yeah, I'll be surprised. Like, how the fuck you did that? Maybe it was your call to fucking shoot those people up. I don't know.
Alec Baldwin's like, what's the problem with that?
Alec Baldwin is like, what's the problem with that?
How long you figure it'll
That's
take
what
us
you
to get
said?
together? Well, a couple hours.
He really
Somewhat
clapped someone.
we bump into
Yo,
along
I'm
the
real
way.
sorry for him. Did you see, like, the pictures of him, like, in shock, like, crying?
No.
He
But
looked
why would you
mad.
play around like that?
He looked mad devastated. He was playing around?
Why else? Like, why else would he have the gun if he's not shooting? If he's not, like, acting or whatever?
Oh, I thought he was shooting a movie.
No, I don't think he was. Like, it was during the movie, but
Oh, during the times he was just messing
they
around.
weren't. It wasn't, like, action or something. You know what he did? Ah, shit.
Oh, I changed the whole playing field.
I fucking hate ads, bro.
It's still a weapon handler's fault.
Nah, man, nah. So my shoulders to show that. It's on my shoulders to show that the God, yeah. It's on my shoulders to show that.
Take care of that.
Nights you got me up thinking like, where could you be? I told you be home at 7, but you say forget it. Now you in the car with me.
I told you.
7
So my
o'clock.
shoulders to shoot at the cars. Slash up the tires like we Michael Myers. We leaving this shit, captivating the dogs. I kept it 100 here in the streets. You kept it shady, now we got some beef. Bought you that necklace, man, that shit expensive. I should've went out and flood out the fatigue. Cause you did me dirty, I swear that you did. Living a lie, girl, this shit got me pissed. Used to be baby girl, honey, now you acting funny, girl, now I can call you a bitch. Fuck all these feelings and bottles and shit. You took my soul and then gave it to him. Like, how could you say that you love me and take the shit from me, then go and just say that to him? But what can I say? I think it's time that I let all my stress from each bullet today. But what can I say? Hey, I think it's time that I let all my stress out today. But what can I say?
I don't think I'll ever get to the point
I took my shoulders to show that.
that like I shoot up someone.
I took my shoulders to show that the God, yeah. I took my shoulders to show that the God, yeah. Hey, you got excuses. Saying what I'm saying is illusions.
What?
If I had shooters, I probably would have told the shooters to shoot up the car at that time.
You shoot up the car.
I was going to it, you know? I probably would have. But... happy.
But that's how, what's his name's ex died.
He shouldn't be in, he was Malik. He should have been in the car.
That's a fact.
You shouldn't have had her in the car. That, yo, he has like these stories, right? That nigga, right? That makes you have a movie in your head, right? Right?
Yo, I got 4 stars.
Whenever you envision, like
You said what?
whenever you envision his stories, it's like a movie, right?
Yeah.
This shit is crazy.
And then if you say that, they're gonna be like, oh, you know, I'm just. That's me, you know. Like I want the fans to like see a movie. All right, I'm at 4 stars. I'm gonna see if I can get 5.
What the fuck? What the fuck?
Yo, what the fuck?
Yo, what the fuck? Yo, what the fuck? You're shooting RPGs at your nigga. Yo, what the fuck? Oh no! Why do you do that on me?
Shit up, don't they? Down here! Coming! Where are you? They're down here, come on!
Oh my god.
Jesus, that was close. Nothing
Turn my
tells me
nation
they
from one place to another.
Really? What gives you that idea? Down here, quick! Don't wait, just
This is the first time I ever know you was going off.
Nathan! Nathan!
Yo, the nigga hit the wall, yo. He hit the wall so hard. That was so funny. Oh my god,
No! Fucking killed me on 4 stars.
Come on, brother, shoot him. What are you doing? Get the car. Yo, I cannot do this no more. Where do I drop? Fuck that.
I got a friend, and his best friend is Lucas.
I was the kind of dude that kept it real and made you smile, and no matter the situation, I was your ride or die. See, I never really the type to complain. I held it down every time you went and tapped my name, and now I
Feel so lucky inside, cause when you get me dirty, I just get the cushion with pride, like, hold on. Cause I told my shoulders to shoot it. Shoulders to shoot it. I told my shoulders to shoot it.
Oh, this out of my phone. I gotta get better at shooting.
I just went past the status where this girl said story mode in GTA shouldn't exist anymore. Exactly.
No, what are you talking about?
I don't care for it anymore.
Well, it should be a separate entity like how I was saying last night. Like how like Warzone, how they do their shit. Like it should be like that. Where if you don't want to have that in your head in your face, you should choose to like not have it in your face. Because I understand that with Call of Duty. Like I don't want to see it. It doesn't make no sense to me at the moment. Although like they have really good like campaigns. Still, it's just like if I see them,
Nice shot. Ah, great.
but I'll never want to stop them. They always be on that.
Maybe because I wasn't really like interested in 5. Like San Andreas, Vice City. Vice City's my favorite game. So I like that, but
Assholes. Sam! Climb up the rope!
Like the source family. There is a lot of people. Everybody likes it. So I want to replay it. Like that's the only reason why I want to play it.
I have Vice City right now.
Thanks.
You know, I think I lost it in the house.
Oh, this is nuts! Run! Keep running! Don't stop!
I'll get to the map thing.
Damn, I just stole a stretch swimmer, and I can't put it in the garage. That's a fact.
This movie better be a roller coaster, man. Look at the roller coaster. Like, this is my first sit-down game I had fun playing in a while.
Kick his ass!
Death Stranding was king.
Alright, let's try this again.
Where do we go from there? Shit, this bitch.
Okay, wait.
Shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm not done talking.
Nadine, great to see you again. Okay, Mango.
You saw it? You saw it?
It's my safe word.
I'm gonna play right now.
Moments.
Yo.
Yes. You and your brother have proven yourselves the more capable treasure hunters on the island. Shame we're not on the same side.
Mind state.
Still time.
I do not.
Drake.
I didn't like the fact that they was advocating for Joe Biden being office because I knew,
Stop.
you know who this certain says. You knew that this was coming. This was a plan. The Democrats plan. You know, and the Black Lives Matter and all that shit. I really think it wasn't like that. So I wasn't supporting that aspect when he was doing that. You know what I'm saying? However, my song definitely, I think my song Heart where his heart is at, and wanting to change, you know, stop these kids from killing themselves in the streets is definitely there. We actually doing something together when it comes to that. I think Mice is a good person at heart, and I think that it's okay for you to disagree with somebody on one thing and work with them on another thing. I'm pretty sure a lot of people, including Mice, and a lot of other people disagree with the stuff that I post in my beliefs. You know what I mean? And you know, I hear from behind my back. I hear people, you know, come tell me, yo, they laughing at you. You talking about aliens? You talking about this? You talking about
alien? You talking about alien? You talking about this?
However, I heard somebody say this. I do believe that, you know, I'm speaking for Mike's son, not everybody around him in an organization that he's connected to. Because I think some of those people are under George Soros himself, and you know, some of the people being funded by that. And you know, and it's kind of like the devil wears shorts because like they go there with the ops, but I give him many one of the same too. At least we got somebody.
This guy has a fighter jet, and he's just flying around the map, shooting people with rockets.
I just thinking of flying.
I get like another like 300,000 for this.
Doing nothing that he's saying, like, you know, like he's a super fraud and why we giving him a platform. Like, you know, he created a lane for himself that's working for him. That, like Vinny said, he got a job doing it. You know, when otherwise, you know, he came out of prison and created this for himself. I think, you know, we should honor him and just watch what he's doing. I mean, you know, I don't want to sit here and just call him a fraud for that. We could disagree on what he's doing.
Oh my God, shut up.
Out of doubt at this time right now with the defunding.
Yo, son. The problem with that is your statement is you're just assuming. We don't have. That's the problem. Give me a better question, my son, right now. That's not the issue. I got a better answer for that. The better one right now, the one who shoots the voice right now, the one that can get his snot box right now. Hocus Paul Fifth is taking a motherfucking stand, and I'm proud of him. Hocus Paul Fifth is using his voice in a way that he can be murdered. My son is sitting up there he's playing politician games. Not only is he playing politician games, but I'm gonna say something else too. After this shit that just happened, with that concert, these niggas showed us exactly who they are in the music industry. Tamika Mallory is my son's big home. Tamika Mallory took the oath. Tamika Mallory. You don't have to believe in religion, but they do. And that is the side that my son is on. He is working under the umbrella of the bootleg. The umbrella of Tamika Mallory. Tamika Mallory is under the umbrella of... I'm not finished talking, bitch.
Oh, I'm finished talking, bitch.
I'm not finished talking, bitch.
All I need is one mic.
A short chance won't take your off to nobody. That's why when you look on my YouTube page, when you see the pages came to my house and they asked me who was my handler, and I told them get the fuck up out of here. I don't have no handler. I am not a Mason. I am not part of any fraternal order. I answer to nobody but God alone. I use my voice to speak out against everything in the industry and everything satanic. I don't pick and choose my battles. That's why I fuck with Hocus Paul Fifth, because Hocus Paul Fifth, he takes the time out to speak out against this agenda of this vaccine that they put out there against us. These motherfuckers created a pandemic to break the economy, to break the middle class, and to break the new world order. And none of the motherfuckers is talking about it, but me and Hocus Paul Fifth and other platforms that's not looking like that. But people that have a big platform, these niggas usher in.
It's not the start.
I say, I didn't think he had it in.
It's like the censor is like having a hard time censoring words.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Together, put more black people in jail than anybody. And they was elected by a criminal himself. Gangbangers.
Come on, man.
And once these niggas got in office, they abandoned shit. My son's voice right now is not being used for none other than beefing on the fucking internet where he know his position is as
I'll be here what you have in mind.
my son is considered to be a leader. Even to me, I consider him to be a leader.
Go ahead, I'm listening.
And what he's doing right now is not showing no leadership at all. What he's doing is showing that basically he can get you caught up in the distractions of the internet. Everybody on the fucking internet right now, or rather every celebrity right now, is indirectly talking shit about me and building platforms like Clubhouse and others so that they can sit up there and build
They build platforms like Clubhouse.
that's pointing them out for their own son. This is why these platforms are being built.
Yo, that's why he didn't want to let you up on the platform the other day. He was scared to see you in the room, man. He came in the building and he didn't want to have that conversation because he know you the real. Niggas
You know you're the real.
I'm the one that's saying
You have to say that to calm down.
Right now, the problem with y'all niggas right now is y'all sitting up there and y'all pussyfooting around with that nigga. There's questions that y'all should be asking
You're
him
pussyfooting
right
around
now.
with that nigga.
We need to know why.
kind of story
Why
you
the
cooked
fuck?
up.
Him and Jim fought so hard to get these demons
Baby,
You're wasting time.
bad boys to people. Facts.
thing is, Nate,
Right now, we at war as a people.
Bravery's treasure.
You know how crazy it is, right?
And then I hear that our dear old Samuel Drake, an authority,
What's going on, dude?
is alive.
We don't have time to you little muffled, huh? Y'all back in the mic. You muffled a little bit, huh?
There was no break.
Mumble.
I bribed the prison warden. Your
Sounds
brother just walked
perfect
right
when
out
you
the
was
front
in,
gate.
man. He's talking.
He spent the last 2
My
years
nigga talking that
tracking
let's reset the room real quick. Let's reset the room with my soft pick the mic. Let's reset that.
Sam,
One
get
mic,
her-
one mic.
Go ahead and follow the greenhouse.
Oh, Sam. Jesus, no.
Now we talking about my son is a
No.
pro.
Your son.
Platform on Clubhouse. We got the homie our son on here. You know what I mean? It's got to be game. Go ahead and
Nate, if
finish
it's any
that.
consolation, he duped me too.
Son, you good nigga?
Houdini on me, he
Alright,
brought
let's
you.
go, son.
And that old man back in the
My whole thing is
cannot
like this,
lie,
right?
Sam, that
That's
really
like,
pissed me
how,
off.
let me show you how crazy this is, right? All of these police officers, fire department, nurses, teachers, you name it, lost their job because they didn't want to take this vaccine. And now you got Gen Z promoting a job fair, which I knew was going to happen, where now you got the vaccinated getting ready to take the unvaccinated job. You understand how deep that is and why this is going on.
missed one clue.
You don't see to me the now. I saw it, he did it, right? It's funny.
Said it
When the
yourself,
shit happened in the
running into dead
pandemic,
ends.
he raised $30 million within a couple of
you
hours
face it, Ray, if you
for the
want.
nurses that were on the front line. Right? They was on the front line. And now those same nurses have no job right now and they're being replaced by military. But you got Tamika Mallory. She's pushing action. And Mike Saw is calling him nothing but
You're
trauma.
making a mistake.
He can't not use his voice to even like try to pump all people getting fired to get these people jobs back. No, nothing. And y'all not even questioning him? That nigga got it on the internet. He dragged Lil Wayne and called Lil Wayne all kinds of fucking junkies. He called them all kinds of junkies and told them to mind his business because Lil Wayne spoke on behalf of Trump. And ever since Biden and Kamala Harris got their ass in office, you ain't heard no more about Papoose. They made that movie called The Beautiful Black Asiatic. And now that rotten bitch in office ain't doing shit by people. You don't hear these niggas shut
Who
the
lives
fuck
here
up.
anyway?
This is definitely the address. Been scoping the place out for the past few days. Everyone's home.
The song beat, man. Song, go shit, dog.
And here we are.
Yeah, can I make a comment? Okay.
Just the lady.
He's using his voice in the way that he wants to. It's right. My son's running around with niggas on the fucking internet. That's the difference. Me and Hopey is crazy because me and Hopey had a beef with each other. And I can say, yo, I'm so proud
Where
of
they had a
this.
beef.
You think this
The
place has
thing
been learned?
that he is becoming
Focus,
as he's
focus,
going along, and my son, there that we built that nigga was, you see exactly who the fuck he is.
Alright, yo. Hey, yo, can I say something real quick? Hold on. The lady wanted to say something. I appreciate the recognition, bro.
Yeah, let's do it really fast. I want to give a shout out to
Yeah,
this legal know what? It feels good to be a part of this conversation now that it's actually going somewhere.
Shut the fuck up.
I don't want to guess and wonder.
You're gonna hear who you call it come out of nowhere and be like, "Bullets got you, you a bitch."
Oh, I found it.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, okay, so I don't want to sit and wonder. I don't think we can afford at this moment to sit and wonder what somebody's
That
up to.
one was funny. Who said that? Everybody got quiet.
I was wondering why so many children were being arrested. Remember the time when it was like you can get up to 10 years if you break into this stuff, and then Tamika stood up there and said, you know, to what did she say? Burn it down. Did she say burn it down?
That's hard to burn.
But basically, it was a green light to have our youth running wild. During a pandemic, you have so many things you have to focus on. Now we gotta
The woman you told shut the fuck up is agreeing with him.
I have young cousins and stuff like that. People that was outside during that time. It was a very dangerous time. So for you to have a grown woman to sit up on the podium, you get the mic, you get the chance to speak. A lot of our leaders, you know, they were leading us into the correct areas we needed to be led into. I'm not saying that they were all perfect, but for you to sit up there and to say, you know, go burn it down. Then I had to watch video footage of, you know, so many people because they weren't burning down. And they were not able to get access to their medication because people were looting and burning down stuff. That was not the focus. We were supposed to show up to figure out, you know, how can we change the system and change the laws to protect our people from being in the streets by the, you know, corrupt system. We were not supposed to be burning down stuff and stealing TVs. So I just wanted to thank you, Hassan, for sharing that and for getting us back on track so we don't have to assume anymore. We can just see it for what it is and get some better leaders in position.
Hey, I feel you on that. And I'll say this, back to what I was saying, I still see him as a nigga with a job. And my thing with Black Lives Matter is, if you go, did anybody in here read the About Us when they first came out?
Hell yeah, they are for black men. They actually hate black men.
They actually hate black people.
So the company is based on destroying the black family. Now, if anybody asks my son that, let's see what he has to say about that. But like I'm still gonna say, I'll give the nigga the benefit of the doubt. Based on the simple fact that he's a nigga from the Bronx.
He's a Tommy Hilfiger nigga.
He's been out here. I don't see people just ever losing their hood. Like black people don't know nothing about infiltration. I don't see a nigga like losing. How could you lose that? Yo, fuck my people. I'm gonna betray my whole race for a couple of dollars.
Hey, I thought you did it.
Minnesota, he knows about that. Just that's the only time he knows. Lord Jamar told him.
We gotta remember that it's you know, if you're playing the game, you can't just come out and speak publicly. He's not on that side of the fence. He's playing the game. And I understand where Hassan is coming from. It's frightening out here right now, and it's angry, and it's everything. It's everything.
It's everything.
Fuck.
You
Oh,
having a
what?
hard time adjusting your audio.
That's the book.
Tommy Hilfiger niggas, Justin. They don't know what to do.
Robin?
No, like they're Tommy Hilfiger niggas. They don't know what to do with the audio and all that.
Right. So would y'all say?
Oh shit, that nigga fraud.
Yo, listen, for that movie and for what you saw, for the people that saw Spook sat by the door, would you call that man cool? Star of the movie? Nope. All right. Give niggas the benefit of the doubt, because if we don't have our players on the other side, then who we got? Al Sharpton, like, what? This is niggas we know. Al Sharpton, what?
But don't be desperate for leader.
Word.
He's not leading properly, you know.
Because he's the new Al Sharpton. He just don't have a wig and
I agree with
he's
that.
not fat.
Can I say something? Who wants to say
Go
something?
ahead, Spencer. Go ahead. You didn't want to say something for a minute. Go ahead.
Look, So during Martin Luther King time, right?
Martin Luther King time.
Black men infiltrated
It's
Right
Martin Luther
around
King time.
half past Martin Luther King time.
King did the same thing, right? But during Martin Luther King
Quarter to MLK
at the
time.
end of his career, time, as he got older, he realized that he is tricking people. People needed to be
And it comes out of nowhere like, this is not fine.
I wanna listen to the Whack 100 beat, Whack 100.
You feel me? So what my son is doing right now, right? Focus. He might have a good heart when he's doing right, bro. But there's things that we know and we see that he is bullshit. But you telling me that just because he have a job, he's doing it for the money, so it's acceptable, and we gotta. I mean, like, ain't nothing wrong with you doing what you're doing for the money, bro. You feel me? But don't talk like you just.
Well, Scotty, shut the fuck up.
Person or righteous person, bro, because there's things that's happening in New York and happening everywhere else in the hood that you don't talk about. You only talk about when a cop kill a nigga, bro. That shit don't happen every day, bro. But a nigga getting killed and a nigga killing innocent babies, that shit happens every fucking day, every hood, bro.
Killing everybody in the hood.
Talk about that. But you, my son, you not talking.
They should have an online mode for Vice City.
That's all I'm talking about, bro. Look, I'm gonna say this, right? My son is not my leader.
That's all Zach, my brother Zach. That was all him, right? They should at least put a 16-man lobby. Free for all.
Yeah.
Or for each map. Like, why not?
Like, the graphics don't look good, but niggas love Roblox and that shit's disgusting.
Yeah.
So,
yo, I would actually play that. Like, I'll actually play that online. Like, play against people in Vice City lobbies. Like how they used to have like the old GTA 4 lobbies where you pick up a weapon, you steal a car, and that's the game.
yeah.
And whoever has the most weapons just wins at the end of the game, or just with, like, you know, survives longer than everybody else. It doesn't even have to be a team deathmatch thing. It could just be like you just respawn, and that person's just the top shot of the game because he caused the most havoc and shit, and gets away with it. That's how it was in the fourth one. Yo. It's simple. It's very simple to do. It's very simple to do. I've seen modders do it all the time. They can do it. It is not hard to create a little lobby. Like Uncharted 4 has a multiplayer lobby. I don't know if it's still working, but they have one.
Yeah, like fucking Batman Arkham Origins, before it got shut down mad quick, but even that had an online mode where you have to either play as like the Bat family or the villains and shit like that.
They're slacking now. Fuck. I'm not paying that much money. Bring the San Andreas in VR up here. I'll pay 65 for that game. Even though like VR games not supposed to even go that low, but limit is supposed to be $40.
I've always liked the aesthetic of like 70s, 80s, so that's why Vice City's up there.
I could picture online. I work Vice City online. Speedboats everywhere. Busting at them. I'm gonna be like Hulk Hogan on the speedboat. Well, Scotty, shut the fuck up.
Gotta be, that's number one. The whole thing is they say is he a fraud. And I say he's a fraud. I'm not saying he's a bitch ass nigga because I'm talking like
wait for that part to happen.
He's only doing that for the, like right now, ain't no confident nigga, right? So he's not gonna bark, he's not gonna talk and scream, right? But I bet just like his son. 6 months from now, right? If a cop kill a nigga in whatever state.
Oh, here's. Wait. Who said that?
That should make you look like you a fraud, bro. popular nigga. That shit don't happen every fucking
Popular
day,
nigga?
son.
That's a popular nigga. He said it. That's a popular nigga.
Well, let me say this, right? Hold on. Let me say this.
Hold on.
Let me say this, man. First of all, the problem with my son is, and I keep saying this, and I've been saying this for a long time, man. You can't be old dog 1 minute and then try to be Sharif. You can't do it, my nigga. You know what I'm saying? You can't do it. You can't come out here and talk about this rapper, this rapper that. I mean, if you said T.I. was a rat, you gotta stand on that. Don't shake hands with that man. If you don't like the nigga back when you coming up trying to get back on, and then now you fucking with the nigga,
can you pause
you
it?
talk to Black Lives Matter with the
What's
nigga.
wrong with like reconciliating with like people? That you,
That's my issue, and that's my issue with Kayla. That's my issue with Kayla and niggas that think like that. Because Russo got mad that I became friends with Zaire again. And I told him, I'm like, bro, just because I don't like you at one point, I have to dislike you for the rest of my life? Like, we could work shit out.
Word.
Like, I don't have to hate you forever.
I can understand from like a standpoint, because they see it as a war, right? They see it as a war, so I can understand it from that standpoint.
It was worth a try.
Yeah, but it's not like they did something crazy, like yo, you killed my cousin or some shit like that. Like it's just regular beef. So it's just like why can't it work out? Like, that's what I'm saying. And I told Ricky this. I'm like, yo, like, I haven't spoke to what's his name in like 3 years. If he was to message me today, right now, and be like, yo, let's work this out, yeah, fuck it. Because that whole holding on to like fucking anger and all that other shit, it's not worth it. Especially if what led us to stop talking wasn't even wasn't even worth stop talking. Stopping talking. So it's just like, I don't know. People see that as, oh, you flip flopping. How's that flip flopping? Like, am I supposed to be angry the rest of my life? If you did some shit like some real fucked up shit, then alright, yeah. But if you didn't, what's the problem?
Like, you heard about like the whole Apple situation? Because my dad, he was telling me something about Apple yesterday. That kind of made me like side with him a little bit.
You said the whole Alpo?
Yeah.
What am I talking about?
Like, you know how people thought he killed the kid? Like, he had a hand in like doing that shit? You saw Paid in Full, right?
Vaguely, but yeah.
You don't like really remember it too much. Do you remember like the scene where they kidnapped the kid and they cut like his finger off and they send the tape and they were trying to come up with the bounty money and shit? Like three of those dudes. Well, like 2 of them, but like one got caught up with Alpha because like Alpha caught him trying to like finesse him on the deal. And he was like, nah, you're not doing that shit. And he always like tried to give him the benefit of the doubt, and he was always trying to like have him tell the truth. But he will never like admit to it. So like Alpha just caught him red-handed one day and was like, fuck it, I gotta kill you. Killed one of the dudes that was with him. That was like part of like the 3-man squad in your movie. So it's like there's 2 of them left. And when he had dumped that dude's body off, the kid that they held for ransom, his body was being dumped off like probably like 50 meters across or some shit. So they thought he was connected to like him holding the kid for ransom. But it was really the one of the dude's family members that did it because he was salty about their success. So they had like a conversation about it before Alpo died. Like Alpo and the AZ dude. And Alpo was telling him about like how he admitted to like 14 murders and stuff, but he would never admit to like 14 and a half. because like he considered like that kid not even to be like a man, so it's like not even taking a full life there. And he's like, I can never like kill a kid, so I will never admit to like killing a kid or whatever. But he was like, I'll do admit to like killing 14 other people, and might connect like from out of the space and stuff. But he never snitched on like anybody in New York.
So why they call him a snitch?
Because
There you go.
the game, like how people be in like beef and shit,
I can't jump that high.
it's either all of it is right or all of it is wrong, you know? So like if you complied with the police, that's like all of it is
In any
wrong
way
type of situation.
whatsoever, you're a snitch.
Yeah, so like, you know, there can never be a gray area within like the hood.
Follow me.
And that's like the major problem with that. Like, there's always a black and white. And granted, like, yeah, there's a black and white that takes over 80% of that. But I do think 20% of it is like, you know, situations that are gray.
Come on, Nathan.
Yo, why don't we like? Why are we not the governors, nigga? Like, I'm on acid speaking this shit.
If you were governor, and we'd hold like a meeting to be like, let's talk about snitching.
So, are we looking for any
Let's talk
particular
about
room?
what exactly
Just keep an eye out for
snitching
any
entails.
journals.
Honestly, if I was to have a governor, if I was to have a pick, I'd pick Dana White. Cause like, if you watch his interviews, like it's fucking insane. Because this guy is cursing Dana White.
Dana White. Yeah. That nigga's so unprofessional.
Yeah, like
Nothing in here.
this nigga won't die. What the fuck? I shot at this guy. I'm supposed to kill this pizza guy, this delivery guy, before he finishes his deliveries. I've ran him over. I shot him. I've hit him with a hammer several times.
He's Matt Hardy.
And he just gets back up. He gets back on his scooter. And he's just like, you may have shot me, ran me over, and bludgeoned me with a hammer, but I gotta make these deliveries. Fucking shit.
You're playing.
But yeah, if you watch his like press conferences, like every other word out his mouth is, he's fucking insane. He's a fucking idiot. Like he's just cursing all the time. Let me tell you something about De La Hoya.
I'm getting really tired of his shit. He's always speaking shit. I mean, like, I don't know. You come from a platform that is full contact, like full-on contact fighting, right? You're like considered the most toughest, like, owner. You like the owner, the most toughest shit ever.
Mm-hmm.
You think he can get away with like being like that?
Yeah, he gets away with it now. Like, no one does anything.
But I don't know, cause like now there's going to be a standard, cause like now one is on TBS and TNT and shit. So
let me play this song.
I want to see how that is gonna go.
Those fights that had people buzzing. We doing this now? Is that you know, these other guys on the internet? We know what the hell we're doing over here. And at the end of the day, my philosophy is always this: it's nobody's fucking business what these fighters are making. None of these guys are under some type of gag order in their contract. Any fighter on the roster can come out and tell you guys what they make. I've said this a million times. They can come out and tell you what they make. Ask them what they make. What'd you make tonight? They can tell you. They don't tell you. You know why they don't tell you? They don't want you to know. I wouldn't want you to know either. But at the end of the day, I've said this a million times, we run a real business, unlike boxing. Boxing doesn't run a real business. What these guys do is every event is a going out of business sale. You know, they're trying to get as much money as they can in the door. The two guys at the top of the card make all the money, and And how many fights a year are they
Do you
doing?
think there's an oversight problem with how he's paying
3,
fighters still?
5, you know.
You said what?
Do you think there's an oversight problem with how he's paying fighters still, or how at least he's covering fighters when they get injured?
Who, Dana?
Yeah.
I think people see the money that the UFC makes, and then people see the money that boxers make, and they say we should make that much. But the thing about it is, and where people get it misconstrued is that every boxer doesn't make the same amount of money that like Canelo does or like Floyd or some shit like that. Only a handful of fighters make that much money.
Yeah.
And he gets into it because De La Hoya he started an MMA organization.
Oh, really?
He closed it like months later, but like you'll see. Hold on.
I'm doing 52 to 53 events a year. So one of the other things we do and why we run real business is we reinvest in the sport. Not just the business of the UFC, but we reinvest in the sport, and we've built a global business over the last 20 years.
Yeah, that fight I don't think, yeah, I do agree with that part.
We have 450 employees that we hire. You know, a couple of years ago it was 350. We're at 450 now. UFC headquarters, Performance Institute.
He's coked up.
I found a space in Mexico City. Now we have a space that we're looking at and doing a deal for. We're going to build a PI there. We're doing Puerto Rico, Africa, and obviously we have one in China. I have offices in Brazil, London, Shanghai, and Singapore. We do all of our own production, which most sports do not. We built the Apex, which has enabled us to put on fights through the pandemic, keep everybody working. We pay for USADA drug testing, which is a massive number every year, to keep the sport safe and fair. And when you think about it, guys like Arum and De La Hoya and people like this never had the vision to do anything like this, and it's never been done. And everybody thinks they know what they're talking about, and everybody has an opinion, and I say it all the time. You know what you guys know about this sport? About this, I shouldn't say the sport. You know what you guys know about this business? What I fucking tell you. That's what you know. That's all you know. What we've done here has never been done in the history of combat sports. And we continue to grow this thing and build the sport bigger for everybody. There's no barrier to entry. Anybody can get into this, okay? Anybody can start an MMA promotion and get going. Jump in and figure it out like I did. Figure it out, right? Now let's get into De La Hoya. And the only reason that I'm telling you this is because he is a lying, two-faced, hypocritical sack of shit. And I hate him so much that I love to prove that he's a lying, hypocritical, two-faced piece of shit. All right, so let's start. I guess we'll start with his when he started an MMA event. Okay, he did his first MMA event, and just for the record, you guys could figure this out too and do this. This isn't some.
I like how idiotic he sounds, but like he's making sense.
Journalism here that you couldn't have.
What?
I like how idiotic he sounds, but he's like making sense though at the same time.
Yeah, he's spitting facts. You can't say shit about it.
And you guys can all look this up yourself. And so all the former UFC fighters who were on his card made more in their last bout than they did for his event. Most of them made more in multiple or all of their UFC bouts, right? So 17 of the 22 fighters got less than the starting compensation in the UFC. The guys who fought on his MMA card. Now, where I'm going with this is this asshole, every time he opens his mouth, acts like, number one, oh, you're not paying your fighters, you know, why are the fighters not being paid? And he acts like when he put on an event, like he pays more than we do or something. Yeah, you pay fucking Canelo a shitload of money, whom you couldn't even hold on to. You couldn't even keep. He fucking left you too, right? How about this? I have 650 fighters under contract. He had fucking one that mattered. He couldn't keep them. Does he still have Ryan Garcia? That only did? All right, good for him. That'll be another 2 weeks before he fucking loses that kid. Okay?
He's done, right?
12 of the 22 fighters.
I think.
He's done. He got like into some depression or some shit.
Yeah, he's out too.
He's
So he's like, fuck!
oh wow.
How am I supposed to keep my lights on?
That kid was a Instagram hotshot. Nah, he's good though. I like his hooks. Like he has really fast hooks.
Yeah.
Like I really like his hooks. I hope he comes back. He had a lot of talent.
Less than the got compensated less than what we pay kids on the Contender Series. Okay, on that MMA event. The last time
You know
remember
dress
they
that he's
the
taking in
big
between?
narrative for that one was Chuck and Tito are going to make more than they ever made. Yeah. The last time Chuck Liddell made less than $250,000 in the UFC was in August of 2004 at UFC 49.
Oh, damn,
okay?
honest about that.
The last time Tito Ortiz made less than $250,000 in the UFC was February of 2005 for UFC 251. What do those have in common? They were both, and just for the record, that was when we were still $40 million in the hole. We weren't making money. We were 40 million upside down. That was the last time. After those dates came the Ultimate Fighter, and everything started to change and grow, right? So, think about this.
Think about it. Think about it.
Chuck Liddell, his last fight in the UFC, right? Chuck lost 5 of his last 6, right? And he still made, on his last fight in the UFC, 10 times more than what Oscar paid him. Okay? Tito Ortiz won 1 of his last 9 fights. Tito Ortiz's last 9 fights, he won 1. He made 12 times in the UFC for his last fight.
I remember that card.
But Oscar paid him. So it's not like I'm giving you numbers, oh, Tito was the champion, and this is what he made, and he got a piece of pay-per-view. Chuck was the champion, he got a piece of pay-per-view. This was the last fight on their contracts after Tito won 1 of his last 9, and Chuck was 5 of his last 6 had lost. Okay? So there's another fucking lie from Oscar De La Hoya.
All those noises he makes.
Let's get into Volkanovski. He's very concerned about Alexander Volkanovski for some fucking reason. Like he needs Oscar De La Hoya's help, right? Think about this. Oh, wait, let me get into this first. So what you've been handed, I could have brought 30 of these, okay? I brought 1 because it's June 9th, 2021, okay? This was a fight that just happened in June. It's a Golden Boy Promotions fight that this dickhead put on. There were 9 fights.
Let me go back.
It's a Golden Boy Promotions fight that this dickhead put on. Okay? There were 9 fights, 18 fighters. The total purses paid for every fight was $36,500. Total.
So, how do we
The
find
average purse per fighter is $2,000
What?
Use that
on a Golden Boy De La Hoya
I
card.
know, but it's such a large play.
For
Let
Chuck
me
Liddell
start
and
again.
them niggas.
He's concerned about Alexander Volkanovski. Okay? Before we paid $1 in fucking purse money,
Sam, I think I found
right?
one.
Volkanovski
You gotta
got
call that
paid
shit a
more to wear
fundraiser,
shoes
nigga.
than Alexander.
What happened?
If I was Chuck Liddell, if I was getting paid $2,000 to fight, I would be like, yo, you better call that shit a fundraiser, nigga.
Yeah, you better say we don't. We sending the proceeds to charity or some shit like that, because like they doing like homeless fights at this point. Like you fighting, you training, and that's the thing. You only getting $2,000, right? But you don't keep all the $2,000.
Oh no!
You don't keep the 2,000. You don't. If I give you, let's say you're training to fight somebody, right? I give you $2,000 for your fight.
Yeah.
Taxes get taken out. That's 1. 2, you have to give money to the training camp.
That's right.
So you don't even get your full 2,000. At most, you'll probably get like a good like 1,300, 12.
Call me crazy,
Yeah.
but this looks like a Ming Dynasty.
You can work a month and make more than
You're,
that.
you're gonna be paying
Ming Dynasty
free-handed
base
probably
just sitting around like
Exactly.
for those camps and all that.
probably a
So
knockoff
that
of
comes.
some
I mean, you're gonna get
it
the
is,
money in
right?
return, yeah, but
Right.
I don't think it's $2,000 worth to be in an MMA ring. Like that's like amateur.
No, that was De La Hoya's boxing Golden Boy event.
MMA event, right?
No, at this time he was talking about Golden Boy's boxing.
Boxing.
Exactly.
Even worse.
Even worse.
Don't budge.
Here.
Like
Let's do
at
it
least
together.
MMA, like I give you the benefit of the doubt, and you don't know the business. Yeah, like
Push.
ah, what the fuck? The niggas cheap. Ain't them pesos for real.
Sort of sarcophagus.
Volkanovski, okay? Before we pay $1 in fucking purse money,
Sarcophagus.
right? Volkanovski got paid more to wear his UFC Venom kit than Oscar De La Hoya paid the entire fucking fight card.
This is real.
Do you understand what I'm
dumb.
saying? To walk out with the Venom fight kit on, he was paid more than Oscar paid the entire fucking fight card. I could go on, but I think we all get the fucking point. He's a liar,
Hey, do me a favor.
and what his interest in talking about the UFC is, and this is the thing.
Can I
Imagine getting paid
your organs in
more
a jar too?
than every fighter on that card put together just to wear a t-shirt.
But the dude is dumb. He left that for that.
Like, all you have to do is wear a shirt and shorts and you get paid more than every fighter who's trained for 6 weeks, 8 weeks.
He probably
all
took
of
a
them
lot
put
blows to
together.
the head. Some shit, yo. Don't these people have like, managers and shit for them?
recognize
Like,
that
each
one?
fighter?
Not really, no. If you're not like big time, you're not getting managers like that.
Before.
We're playing figures.
Like, you're not. I mean, boxing still has sponsors, so like you get money off that. But
There wasn't no
if you're
finger
not,
in this nigga ear. Like, yo, what you doing, nigga? What you doing?
but at the same time, when you're starting up, you have to take stuff like that.
But he was
So-
fighting UFC though.
Who?
The guy he's talking about.
Volkanovski?
This is a boxer, right?
No, Alexander Volkanovski is the featherweight champion in the UFC.
Yeah, he had left to go to there to fight for.
Oh no. He was comparing.
Oh, comparing it. Okay.
Yeah, because De La Hoya was like how he's concerned for Volkanovski because of how he's getting paid and stuff. And Dana's just like, well, we paid Volkanovski more just to wear a shirt than you paid all your fighters put together.
Oh, okay. I thought he left to go with Golden
What?
Boy. For a minute, I thought he left to go with Golden Boy, like during his MMA shit, and left that to like that would have been so stupid. Like you're smoking crack.
Show me I can come out and do this every fuck. I'm not. I don't give a shit. You don't like the way we pay our fighters?
This is my funny. This is the funny part.
I can come out and do this every fuck. I'm not. I don't give a shit.
This one.
You don't like the way we pay our fighters? Too fucking bad. Go start another MMA organization and you go fucking figure out how to do it. And you can pay them $10 million a fight, $30 million a fight, whatever you want to do. We run a business. We've been very good at it. Not only do we run the business, we continue to grow the sport and take everybody along with us. You know, tonight, like Lorisenko said, you know, this whole contender series was all foreign guys that are coming in here to fight. Everybody makes money. Everybody makes a living. You know, there are some hard stories, some sad stories. Some guy came into this. You're either fucking good enough to be here or you're not. This is the big leagues. It's like the NFL. You can either last here or you can't last here. But people get paid. People get paid a lot of money. Any questions?
I actually agree. He's paid more than one. I know one is not paid that much, even though they have like a good like They have good promotion about them and shit,
Mm.
and about their fighters. They're not getting paid a lot. I know, and they're going through worse. Like, shit.
Yeah, like the heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, he was like how he had to borrow money. He's a heavyweight champion. He said he had to borrow money from people in his training camp.
My nigga working at Sunglasses Hut. Yo, son, I am not fighting, yo. That shit is not appealing to me anymore. Like, I would love to fight only on an amateur level and just done it. And when people like ask me like, why don't you want to go to UFC? Why don't you want to do this? I think you either have to be like to be well off, right? You have to be the best at your game. You have to be a rarity, like to like live off good, and to
You have
that
to
be your business.
That, and you also have to have a character, like Kobe Covington. I'm a fan of Kobe Covington now, despite he admitted it. He was like how he beat the #2 fighter in the world at the time. He beat Damian Maia. He was on like a 3 or 4 fight win streak. And before he fought Damian Maia, they told him, they said, win or lose, we're gonna cut you. And he was just like, why? And they were just like, because, you know, like, we don't like your style, like, you're kind of just bland. He was good, everyone knew he was good, but this was before he turned his character up. So when he beat Damian Maia, he knew he had to do something so he doesn't get cut. So he finished him, and then while he was doing the interview, he called everyone in Brazil filthy animals. He said Brazil sucks. The translator was going to translate it, but then they were booing him, and Kobe was just like, we don't need a translator, we live in America, I'm speaking English. Brazil's a dump, like all this other stuff, to the point where security guards had to like lie in his room and they told him, they were just like, we're going to take you out of like a secret exit because there are people out there with guns trying to kill you.
What?
And ever since then, he realized, yeah, ever since then, he was just like, I have to keep this character up.
Yo,
so that whole like,
wears the red hat and all that.
Yeah, that whole MAGA, the way he dresses, like all the dumb shit he says, everyone knows it's a character. Everyone knows it. Like so like, but it's entertaining, and that's why he's where he's at. So it's like, you can be as good as you want, but if you're not a character, if you're not interesting, no one's really gonna give a shit, and they're gonna cut you.
Like, I could have like rational political beliefs on the low. Like, he probably like still like not to a level that you expect. Like, he probably just likes like certain aspects.
Here's another one.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, I don't really fuck with him like that. But nah, you gotta do this. You gotta do this to be lit. Nigga, you ain't lit. You gotta do this.
He said he had to. So it's like, it's a business at the end of the day. So like, all the fighters that are highlighted, they all have like a character to them.
I don't blame Dana, to be honest. I don't blame him for telling Kobe that either. Because, like, one, right? The way they're doing their shit, I don't know, I keep bringing them up. I mean, promotions and shit, but, like, they're on, like, I consider them, like, competition for UFC right now. Because, like, they're on, like, American television.
Who won?
Yeah, they're on American cable television.
Hmm.
Like, they're on, like, TNT. So, like, sometimes when I be flipping on the channels at work.
Oh, you played that shit on TNT?
I play that shit on TNT. That should be on. Niggas be watching that shit.
Hey, Nathan, check me out. Now,
the
who
way
am I?
they promote their fighters, they don't be using, like,
Dr. Livingston, come on!
professional pictures.
Nice.
They take the Tenkin aspect of it. They use their social media pictures. So, like, when you see B Mugen,
I wouldn't give to get an invite like this.
fighting, what's this bitch name? Supergirl's sister. Nice
Who's?
pretty girl too. This girl named Supergirl. She has a sister that fights in that shit. She's real pretty.
Melissa Benoit's sister?
Nah. Hold up.
But here's the issue.
I don't think you know her.
Here's the issue with one, right? The issue with one, with like traditional kickboxing is an extremely like intense, entertaining sport, but no one gives a shit about it. Why? Because it's boring. That's just the reality of it. So like, you would see.
I don't think it's boring though. Like when I look at it.
No, not boring in the sense that, yo, these fights are boring, but people are expecting, you know, like the antics and the lead-ups to the fights in the UFC, like the promos, all this other stuff. It gets people to want to watch.
But nah,
Glory has it, yeah.
Glory got that shit. And like, I see a lot of hood niggas now looking at Glory.
Glory's not on the level of UFC, though.
Nah, it's not. I want it to be. I mean, it's getting, it's slowly.
And what's killing one? What's kind of killing one are there, and what the purists like us like, but in the general view, people don't like it, is their lack of rules.
They do have a lack of rules.
What?
They do have a lack of rules.
Yeah, that's what's killing them. Like when you saw like Mighty Mouse, like everyone was hyped because Mighty Mouse was like pound for pound the best in UFC, and he was winning and won. But then he was on the ground and this guy started kneeing him in the head over and over again.
Yeah.
That soccer kicks are allowed in one. Like 12 to 6 elbows don't really make much sense to me, but that's allowed. So it's like the only organization to do that was Pride.
Yeah, but like how I see that, like those fights, like when I usually see fights like that in one, is either like some beef shit, like them niggas was beefing hard before the fight, or it was some shit where it was a build up and it built up to like a level of desperation, and like these niggas just wanted to get out the fight and win, you know, and like they have refs, like I think they have good refs there. To like ease the shit off. Sometimes I remember they had a couple of refs that was just very fucking lazy. I'm starting to see like more good refs that they're using. Cause I guess they're on TNT. They play that show on TNT. They gotta be under American eyes, you know. So they could get away with that level of barbarity, but there has to be a level of respect, and there's like a lot of level of respect between those fighters. Like they don't want to fuck each other up to like the point they kill each other. But
like they know like, oh, it's a fight, like it's a business, we're supposed to win. So if I'm on the ground and you can kick me in the head, I shouldn't be on the floor in the first place. So I can't get mad at you for kicking me.
You're in a championship match, right? You're in the fourth and the next person is tired. And like, you're bloodied up and the next person's bloodied up and you're on the floor, on all fours, like, I'm kicking you in the head, putting respect to the side, and like, I'm sorry, I gotta win my championship. Like, if I could win like that, like, fuck it. And I usually see it like that sometimes, like, it becomes like a shoot match within the sense, you know, of MMA. It becomes some shoot shit.
I think like let me ask you a question. You know about the whole Aljamain Sterling Peter Yan situation?
Nah, what's that?
Okay, so Peter Yan was the bantamweight UFC champion. He fought Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah.
Peter Yan was winning that fight for the most part, but he knocked down Aljamain Sterling, right? So Aljamain was on his knees, and Peter Yan's trainers was like, just punch him, like, you can hear him clear as day say, just punch him. Peter Young needs him in the head.
Oh shit.
He's a downed opponent. You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't.
So he's on the floor. The ref, if you get down, let's say you get poked in the eye, you get kicked in the nuts, or you get like kneed in the head or whatever. You get a 5-minute break if you want, which completely changes the fight. Because let's say you're washing me and you poke me in the eye, I can wait 5 minutes, and after that the momentum's gone. I got my senses back. We're good. But you either get 5 minutes, you can say you can't fight and the fight ends, or the ref disqualifies you. So Aljamain was on the floor, he wasn't moving, and he was rolling around, and he was wobbling, and all this other stuff. The ref stopped the fight. Peter Yan lost his title by DQ. Aljamain had the title, and when Joe interviewed him, Aljamain was crying. He was just like, I wanted to win the belt, but not like this, da-da-da-da, right? Later that night, Aljamain and his whole entire team smiling, toasting, saying, yo, our boy just won the title, dancing around with the title, and he's saying he won, and he's the champion, all this other shit.
Like any victim, not even no hurt out of it, right?
And so everyone knew that he was losing that fight. It's not like he won and this shit happened. He was losing it. So let's say you're fighting for the title, someone does something illegal to you. Are you going to be like, that's illegal, the fight needs to be stopped? Or would you be like, nah, let's keep fighting?
If it's a UFC, yeah, it's illegal, it needs to be stopped to keep my championship. Fuck that. Fuck that shit.
If I'm losing that fight and someone needs me in the head and the ref is like, you can stop the fight if you want, I'm like, you do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. If someone needs me in the head while I'm going down, I'm gonna be like, yo, good looks.
And that's the thing that UFC needs to promote. Those are the benefits that UFC needs to promote over one. And they will win like that. I mean, one, people will still watch one, and when they start to catch on to that shit, because I don't think a lot of people are catching on to like that they actually do that shit on TNT, but they do. I seen it. And I had a group of people sit down in the gym of like different races and shit and genders, just sit down and watch this shit go down, and like nobody working out, like what the fuck? They're only working out in between like commercials, but they all get back into a group to watch this shit. And I was like, yo, this is some crazy shit. This is drawing more eyes than UFC now. Because UFC is so hard to watch. It's so hard to find. Because nobody has cable. And
TNT's on cable.
Yeah.
No one wants to pay for like pay-per-view or shit like that.
Yeah.
But like
could you see how often do you see UFC fights on like Fox or like ESPN just airing for like free?
They hardly have any like they're on Fox, but they're normally on like Fox Sports 1. Like the actual Fox,
yeah,
it's rare that it's ever on. It's rare it's ever on Fox.
That's not good exposure because like Fox Sports 1, like that's for like dads. Like nobody watches that shit. At least for Fox, right? When you're changing to these channels like in a major area, like the gym, you can catch more eyes to the shit. Cause like after a while, like when we was watching the event, everybody was like, "What is this? What channel is this on?" It was like TNT. And he was like, "Oh, we about to play that shit on TNT every night." So it's like the
if they moved it to a channel that most people look, because no one looks for Fox Sports 1.
Yeah.
So it's like if they moved it to another channel,
or football thing going on, I guess.
Yeah, it would look better. Like the one thing that one is behind on is that UFC has like performance institutes. There's a UFC gym in like Manhattan, like Lower East Side. Like there's that. They have like the Ultimate Fighter. They have the Contender Series, where just like rookie amateurs are fighting for a contract and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it's like
They're
that.
Yeah, you're right. Like they do I mean, like cater to fighters. Yeah, you're right. But like as a company, one, two, like they're not that bad as well. Like they have a video game thing, like an esports thing. That's its own separate entity. Even though it's all under one, that's like WWE 2K games or some shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like they need to. That's why it was so monumental when Mighty Mouse went from UFC and One did a trade. UFC traded Mighty Mouse to One, and One traded Ben Askren to UFC. And the reason why that was monumental is because Dana White said that he'll never collaborate with any MMA organization.
That was publicly traded?
What?
That was like a public trade thing?
Yeah.
Really?
Like he said he wouldn't do that again because Mighty Mouse wanted out anyway, and everyone loved Ben Askren, so he was just like, fuck it. The only reason why he said he wouldn't do it with any organization is because he collaborated with Pride, and he sent UFC fighters to Pride, and Pride came over to UFC, but Pride fucked Dana White over. So after that, Dana's just like, I'm not gonna fuck with any organization anymore. In fact, I'm gonna buy all of Zuffa and all that other shit. Yeah, WEC, Strikeforce, but he bought them all. So,
no, Bellator is still standing. Barely, right? Because like that's the thing, like Burger King of like the MMA.
Ah, come on, Burger King's better than McDonald's though.
Like UFC is like the McDonald's. UFC is everywhere. Like McDonald's is everywhere. McDonald's is literally everywhere. I mean, Burger King is like.
Burger King's not as everywhere as McDonald's though. I'm sure I can walk straight. I can literally leave my house and walk a straight line for 20 minutes, and I'll pass a McDonald's somehow, some way.
It's like an NPC area.
Exactly. Like it's a fucking Starbucks at this point. Like it's Walgreens. It's everywhere. But
yeah, Bellator is like falling off. I haven't heard anything from Bellator. Really.
Bellator's doing good. Like their fights are good. It's just Dana got lucky. Cause Dana, when he did the UFC, like he said in the video, he was like 40 million in debt. So, but he ended up meeting the Fertitta brothers, who were billionaires, and they were just like, yo, we'll pay your debt off, and we'll like pay for you to fucking do whatever. And that's how he got the money to do the Ultimate Fighter and all that other shit. So he got lucky in terms of that. All these other organizations, they don't have that. So they have to work around it.
That's good though. Yeah, he did get lucky. But I mean, at the same time, they probably saw his vision. It was like, yo, nigga, you got some good shit.
That and their fighters are star power. Like, you got Conor. Before Ronda Rousey was a scrub, she was there. John Jones' crackhead self. Max Holloway was fighting today, which I'm excited for. So it's like,
yeah, I was watching Holloway fight this the other day. I think it was a beast, dude.
Did you see him fight? Two fights you need to watch. His fight with Brian Ortega, and his latest fight, which was like, I think like 6 months ago. He fought Calvin Kattar.
I think I saw the Calvin Kattar one.
Because Calvin Kattar,
to like the end, right?
What?
That's when they fought to like the end.
Yeah, and like Holloway did like Ultra Instinct, and while he was looking at the commentator desk,
yes, he's just like looking at him and just like taunting mad much.
And weaving the shots, yeah, because Calvin Kattar is a good boxer, and everyone's just like, Calvin Kattar's gonna knock him out, Max, all this other shit. So Max was just like, no, I'm the best boxer in the UFC, and he beat the living. He set a record in that fight for how many significant strikes was landed in that fight.
Yeah. That got me tight at like the end, because I was like, dude, why don't you just like fix your, like straighten up and just get at him? He's literally standing his ground and just like taunting you so much. Like it's like a video game at this point.
Once you get beat up that much, that and the thing with Holloway is
pride is broken.
What?
Pride was broken.
Yeah, like the thing with UFC and most fights is like a turn-based system where it's like I'm gonna throw a jab, I'm gonna throw a leg kick, then it's your turn to attack. But Max, he doesn't get tired, so he doesn't give you time. So he's just constantly attacking you. He broke you, so now you're just like, if I throw this, he's probably gonna hit me 4 more times. So now you're just waiting for a knockout, but the knockout's not happening. So you're just like, shit.
Yo,
just don't get knocked out.
Do you shame Ronda Rousey now, like for like leaving when she got knocked out, or do you just shame her for how she handled it?
Mom's stuff might be
I don't blame her for leaving because the sport caught up to her. It's everyone.
Good upbringing, right? Like when you have a good upbringing like that, right? Wouldn't you like to bail out when you? But just not in that fashion. She did it in a dummy fashion. I mean, granted, she redeemed herself with the WrestleMania shit, but like at the same time, didn't go down well with the MMA shit.
Well, it went well, but like the sport caught up to her. And Russo and I, we loved Ronda. We were saying, yo, that's a bad bitch. Like we praised her. But the reality is, everyone she was fighting were not good. It wasn't until she fought Holly that Ronda couldn't take her down.
Damn it.
And she damn straight. She damn well she couldn't like fight. She couldn't box with Holly if she had 30 years to train. She couldn't box with Holly.
Oh, yeah.
So after that,
The room below it.
the sport grew and they started being keen to her game, and it just didn't work. And the thing with Ronda is she was full of herself. Every fight she had, she talked shit.
Handled it wrong. But I mean, at the same time, you're in UFC, so you have to have a character.
Yeah, you have to have a character, but at the same time, like the way she was talking, like Holly, her nickname is the preacher's daughter. Because, like, her father's a fucking preacher. So, like, Holly didn't do anything bad to her. Holly didn't do nothing, didn't trash talk.
She's a babyface. She could do that. Like, she took the easy way out.
They've got your favorite
and
book
she had
here.
an easy life, took the easy way out. I mean, Ronda had an easy life, too, but, like...
General history of the
I think Holly had an easier life. So easy that she's really good at what she does.
Made up history.
And she's the preacher's daughter, and, like, she's a babyface. And she can't, she doesn't have to speak. She's like Alex Gustafson, like... The nigga look like an angel. He don't have to speak. Like, I don't know.
The one with the biggest baby face in UFC history is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He is the nicest person in the mannerism wise. He's the nicest person in the UFC. No one hates him.
So quickly, just to branch off that, right? So you see that dude and how they're promoting him. How they promote him clean like that. That's how kind of like. What they're doing at one with their fighters, like they're promoting them like tanking characters in a way. Like most of the fighters there are respectable and shit, and they're not dickheads. You have like very few in between like that are dickheads, but for the most part, like how they promote them, they use their Instagram like pictures and shit, and like when you see that on like television. They don't look like fighters. They look like some out of the blue, like tanking character type shit. It looks like a fighting game.
And those instruments, the only thing standing between
it looks like a fighting game. I was trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I don't know. I think they need to start like amping up on that. But I mean, UFC is so like mainstream. There are the NFL. They don't even have to do that shit. But I could see one taking over like that by just some gimmicky ass shit like that. But at least they need to keep Wonderboy, and need to keep people like Wonderboy like him that are not dickheads, but that could talk and like they're easy to like promote, and you don't have to worry about them too much going on drug benders and shit.
Like the biggest change, probably outside of Kobe, is T.J. Dillashaw. Like T.J. Dillashaw, he's really good, but no one cared. It wasn't until like he betrayed Team Alpha Male and he fought Cody Garbrandt that if you watch his first fight with Cody Garbrandt when he knocked him out, like Cody gets in his face, like literally their foreheads are touching, and he's screaming at him and all this other shit, and he turned into a villain afterwards. And then he got popped for EPO, and then like he's a villain now. Everyone hates him, so it's like
EPO thing. Like that's when they started hammering down on him hard.
Yeah, the thing with Ronda is that Kobe realizes this. Kobe's just like, I know the shit that I talk, so if I lose, I know what's gonna happen afterwards. He's able to handle it. Ronda couldn't handle it.
Yeah.
I guess because he lost before, so he knows how to deal with it. Ronda never lost until the Holly fight. So once that happened,
Oprah and crying is not a good way to handle it as a fighter.
What?
I feel like going to Oprah and crying, it's not a good way to handle that as a fighter. Like, I understand everybody's an emotional human being and all that bullshit, but like, there's an image of protection that comes to your brand as well, and I think that really hurt her brand. And when that happened, like, it got a lot of people laughing at her. Like,
yeah, especially if you talk this much shit. Like the Diaz brothers, all they do is talk shit. But if they lose, they still talk shit.
Yeah,
and like,
or at least I would respect if she would just went out quiet. Like, all right, I lost to Rose, I lost to like Holmes, or whatever, right? I'll go out quiet, like bow out quiet, you know, and I just go do my WWE thing. You know,
that would have been respectable. But what made it worse, because that wasn't her last fight before she went to WWE, what made it worse is that she has a shitty trainer. And there's always the saying, dance with the one who brought you. Ronda made it to the top with her judo and her submission. But for whatever reason, her coach deluded her into thinking she was a boxer. So, like, even Joe Rogan was like, I think she has a good chance against Floyd Mayweather. Imagine that. Imagine that.
And Tommy Hilfiger nigga.
What?
You Tommy Hilfiger nigga.
Exactly. Yo, Joe Rogan, you a bitch. Who said that?
Who said that?
I thought it was Whack 100's dumbass.
Yo, did you even hear that part? Oh my god. But wait, we'll go back to what you were saying though. Like,
but yeah, so it wasn't until she was like how she's coming back for a fight. And she called out Amanda Nunes. First off, why?
Yeah,
like when Conor lost to Khabib and he came back, he didn't fight the top people. He fought Donald Cerrone. He fought someone he knew he was going to win, get that star power and attention back, and then work your way up. Ronda was just like, I want to fight Amanda Nunes. And her coach kept thinking she can strike with Amanda. Amanda knocks out niggas. So that, and Amanda's reach is so long. So like, and she still has power behind the reach. You can be at full reach. If she hits you, that power is still going to be there. So she fought Amanda. She got washed the first round. And instead of her coach saying, you should definitely try taking her down, he said, you're doing great. Just use head movement. And lead up to the fight.
Through the audio, right? You can hear it through the...
Yeah, you just hear head movement. Head movement. And like the thing about it, in the lead up to the fight, you don't see Ronda training you don't see her rolling, you don't see her practicing takedowns, you just see her boxing. Terribly at that. What?
Did we watch that together?
No, that was the same card that Dominic Cruz lost to Cody Garbrandt, and that triggers me. So no, we didn't watch it. Because Dominic Cruz is my favorite fighter, and
yeah, I like him too.
I trash talk because his footwork is insane. So like I trash talk Russo, and I'm like, he's gonna watch Garbrandt. when Holly lost, I called Russo 5 times. Not Holly. When Ronda lost to Holly, I called him. He wouldn't pick up. So when Cruz lost, Russo called me a bunch of times. I didn't pick up.
So where are we
But
going?
yeah, and
Well, if you could go
she
anywhere in the
got
world, where would you pick?
she got knocked out standing up.
Anywhere.
That's how terrible it was. She got beat up while she was still standing up, and the ref stopped it. Instead of her saying, "Look, good fight," da da da, she hid, and she was like, "I'm going to WWE."
Yeah, yo. That's not a good way to handle that shit. Like, she still could have done it. I mean, nah, I don't think she hid. She went to Oprah, bro. You just, I think that's what, like, did it, you know? Like, when you go on these talk shows and you start crying and you want people to feel sorry for you and shit.
You're like, why you set yourself up for this?
It's a fight.
Like, yeah, it's a fucking fight. Like, what the fuck were you expecting? Like, even her mom, Ronda's own mom, was just like, yo, your coach is a piece of shit. Leave him. Go find another gym.
Really?
And she wouldn't listen. Yeah, even her, because her mom is a judo gold medalist, I think.
But you know, when there's a limitation, there's a limitation. Like, if
Yes.
you might have to go get a new boxing coach at least. And, like,
Even
he will tell you not to use that as your primary. Use that when you're, like, you know, bank against the wall or something or whatever.
And everyone told her, like, yo, your coach is terrible. Like, leave.
Or pace yourself out. Yeah.
And Ronda was just like, no, I'm gonna stay with him. And you saw how that turned out.
Trying to box a girl. That's
And
great.
I sent you a video a long time ago. I don't know if you remember
Oh,
of
yeah,
her
yeah, I
like
saw
boxing,
And, she was
and
trying
like
to
her
box
shoulders were like hitting her head while she was throwing punches. I'm like, how do you do that?
She wasn't aiming, like, her shoulders. Like, she was trying to cover her chin, but she wasn't aiming her punches. Like, and I had did that before. Like, I was shadow boxing like that, and I was like, holy fuck. You could catch yourself doing that. Cause, like,
Yeah, you can get a fucking headache from your shoulders hitting you in the head over and over again.
but
So
not,
it's just like,
but not that way. Like, just like how you, like, she didn't structure her arms. Like, sometimes you get caught up in momentum where you think you're doing something, like, and yeah, you do that. Like, I got caught up in momentum one time where I thought I was doing something and I did do that, and I was like, oh shit, you gotta restructure your arms and, like, look where you're shooting when you're shadow boxing. Because sometimes, like, I know, like, certain fighters, like MMA fighters, they probably get into this boxing flow. Because they're not the best boxers. I'm pretty sure she's not the first one to do some stupid shadow boxing shit.
oh, of course not. It's just her, so it's highlighted. But like,
Yeah, she's like the first woman.
yeah, like that's the thing. She knocked out one person, and ever since then, she can beat Floyd. Imagine how hyped up you gotta be to knock out one person, and everyone's just like, you can be what people are saying is the best boxer in history. In boxing,
Yeah, we'll visit the Taj Mahal.
like imagine how hyped up you gotta feel. You feel invincible. Like, oh, I can beat everybody then. And then she fought Holly, who's a 10-time boxing champion, and you saw that work.
She wasn't even using most of her hands. She was using her feet. She was kicking her.
And she broke her. She crossed her up. How do you get crossed up in a cage? Like, she did some basketball shit and crossed her up to the point where Ronda fell against the cage.
Yeah, I saw that. She got disorientated. She got into a genjutsu.
Yeah, like she threw a swing and then Holly ducked under it and she slipped and she fell right into the cage. I'm just like, damn, this isn't gonna end well. Because Ronda Russo got his like glove signed by her. You were there, right?
Yeah, I got an autograph by her as well.
Yeah.
She was a nice person to meet. Like, I have no qualms about her. It's just
I just
like
read this one.
the only thing I do is just like how you handle it.
Is it any good?
Like,
kind of
if you're a
incredible.
loudmouth,
It's about the first
like how you
Western
said,
woman
like
to
you
visit
can either
Lhasa.
go out like that, but
I'll get
there's
there
another
myself one
alternative
day.
where you could just bow out quiet and be respectable and just like, yo, say your piece, but say it in a way that's respectable. Like, yo, I had a good time here. This is not my thing right now. Maybe I need to go back and train a little harder and take a outlet to do this some shit or whatever, you know, some good old PR shit. Like she didn't have to like go and cry and make an emotional,
on a talk show.
yeah, and make an emotional thing out of it, because I think that like you don't see fighters doing that. When do you see fighters doing that? Oh,
If she was to just,
with the post show.
if she was to lose and be like, you know, like Holly, she fought a good fight. I just want to say, America, what happened to you? Go back, you go.
Go back, you go.
Go for Jesus, not for gay
Go
Jesus.
for Jesus, not for gay Jesus.
Not for gay Jesus people. This is when gay marriage was legalized, and he said this shit. And then he wants to be like, nah, I said don't forget Jesus.
And that's another alternative. But that's another alternative though. She could have went out like that, and I would have been like opposed to it.
Even when Kobe lost to Usman, even he was just like, yo, you won, but when I see you, I'm gonna kill you. So even then, he acknowledged he lost, but he still kept that character up.
Eat a little later. Yeah. Oh. I'm gonna eat a little later. Huh? I'm gonna eat a little later. You good?
Yeah. Nah, I just. Oh, okay.
Oh.
She hit the pipe.
No, I'm good. Yo. She fucked up with that. I'm gonna sell her autograph. She better come back to WWE so I can sell her autograph. While she getting pregnant and shit. I got an autograph by Frankie Edgar too.
Damn, sucks for him, man.
What happened to him? Your word.
He got knocked out last fight. He fought last Saturday.
But he been losing like frequently, kind of, right?
He got front kicked. His last two fights, he got front kicked and he got knocked out. And then before that, he fought Corey Sandhagen, and I don't know if you saw the finish to that fight, so I'm gonna send it to you.
Yeah.
And you're gonna tell me how brutal this finish is.
A man losing his touch, man. It's okay to lose your touch, man.
It happens, you know. He's in. I think he's like 40 something. I think he's 40. Oh, he's close to it.
That's why I think the inevitable route is a trainer's route. You can never go wrong with that shit. Training or commentating. Look like a fucking video game.
You saw it?
Yeah, but nah, I'm watching it right now. But you know, on acid, it looks like a fucking game.
Let's wait for it.
Oh, that was beautiful, actually. Oh, that was so beautiful, bro. That was so beautiful.
And that's why I sent that. I knew you'd appreciate it.
Gorgeous. That nigga was trying to Dominic Cruz the shit. Got blaga.
Because Frankie has a habit of like ducking his head whenever he like throws strikes or whatever, or he wants to go for a takedown. So.
Because Dominic Cruz stands upright when he does certain shit. Like when he's ready to go takedown, he goes for the shit.
Cruz's footwork, the way he moves, that's why he's my favorite fighter. But Henry Cejudo caught him and finished him because of that. Henry Cejudo fought Dominic Cruz, and before the end of the round, Dominic ducked, and Cejudo timed it and threw a knee and like knocked him down and then finished him.
Yeah, I mean, it's a catchable thing. Somebody's gonna catch on to it.
But the reason why people don't catch on to it is because, like, he moves in and out and he feints, so you don't know. You see him doing it. It's like double dutch. You see them jump like before they jump in, so like you don't know when he's gonna throw the strike.
Yeah, like Aldo was like that with his when he used to kick inside the legs and shit.
I don't know why he stopped.
The legs. He stopped because he got knocked out by McGregor.
Those leg kicks, man. His fight with Faber. The way Faber's leg looked after that fight, Faber said he couldn't walk on it for weeks.
He used to have this motion about him. I remember when he was fighting, I think it was Korean Zombie. He used to have this motion about him where he used to move so randomly, like with his feet and with his body. Like he used to rock back and forth, in and out, and like different sequences and shit. And like he was tripping up Korean Zombie like a lot.
Oh, he used to do that a lot. Like those kicks were so strong it would knock you off your feet. I remember we watched that fight and Korean Zombie broke his arm during that fight.
Yeah.
And Aldo caught it, so he just started kicking him in the arm. Started kicking his shit.
Yo, that was like, we were in Buffalo Wild Wings, yo. That shit was so hectic, yo.
We were able to see that. The Robbie Lawler and Johnny Hendricks, we couldn't get in.
Oh yeah.
We couldn't get in. We were only able to get in the last round. Outside of that, we were just sitting outside of Buffalo Wild Wings.
Word.
To the point where the waiter would come out with water and be like, "You guys thirsty? You guys want something to drink?"
That shit was so full. We couldn't get in. Yo, I remember that night. We were so tight too. We were outside for like a good while, and then we got a booth finally. Yeah, that fight, yo, I had to go back home and watch that shit. That shit was crazy. But like, that's the thing. Like Robbie Lawler, he doesn't have a personality, right? He gets away with that shit. He doesn't have a gimmick.
Oh, he gets away with it because of how he fights.
Yeah.
He's like intense when he fights. Like his fights with Rory McDonald.
Oh yeah, I saw that shit.
Where his lip was tore up. Like when he fought Rory McDonald twice. He fought Carlos Condit. That was a good fight. He fought Johnny Hendricks twice.
I saw those. Those are my favorite.
Yeah, those are good fights.
Yeah, he's like the Chris Benoit of like Nah. I'll say Rory McDonald's like the Chris Benoit. That nigga's kind of off.
He's still good. That's the thing.
Yeah, he's really good. He's really good.
I think he's in like Bellator now. He's still good.
You think something's wrong with him though? You think he had that faraway stare? Like you think he's like?
No, I just think he's like. I think he's just like reserved and shit. What I do think is that Rory McDonald fight. Even he admitted it. He was like, that fight. I'm not the same after that fight. Before the Rory McDonald fight, before the Robbie Lawler fight, he was a killer. He still is now, but after that fight, the second fight where they were bloody and like Rory's nose was like on the other side of his face, like he admitted it. He was like, I'm not the same anymore because of that fight.
Yeah, like the effects of that. He probably breathes different now.
Like now his nose is like extremely sensitive. Because he lost because Robbie just threw like a hard jab at his nose and Rory just couldn't deal with the pain anymore, so he just fell to the floor.
Damn. Nah, I ain't gonna lie. I mean, yeah, I don't think that's a pussy way to go out. It is what it is. The body can only handle so much.
And you see people armchair quarterbacks just being like, yo, he quit. I could have took that. No, you can't. No, you can't.
Yo, word, yo, I hate speaking to like MMA fans on social media, yo. Like just any like basic martial arts fan on like social media is like the worst. It's the worst, yo.
Oh, he quit because of this. Oh, he tapped because of this. Have you ever been in this trope? No, but all right then.
Like, have you ever like that too? But like in a disorientated moment where, like, I only had this in sparring from like my belts, but I could imagine it like in a ring like that. It would be 10 times amped, and with people yelling around you as well. Even if COVID shit, with all those like, you still have people watching you and shit, and you're in a cage and like your gloves is not like, you know.
I was gonna mention that too. I was gonna say those gloves are hard as shit. So take that plus the power of the person throwing with those gloves, and then on top of that, your nose is a bone. A bone is broken. Imagine someone punching you as hard as they can on a broken bone.
I thought it was like a game. Like, I used to think fighting was a game until like you heard like when the COVID shit happened, right? And you had no crowds, and you just hear them niggas like hands hitting each other's bodies. Like you don't get to hear that shit when there's like a crowd. Like you hear it a little bit through like the mics, but it's not as amplified how it would be when there's a crowd. There's no crowd present, you know?
Yeah.
Like that shit. I saw a video of one, right? And all you hear is doof 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 doof, like they're like I be picturing like the blows I be doing the body bags, like those are the same blows that they're doing like when they're up close in range and shit. Like they have to take what they're giving out, and I can't imagine most of those people commenting like could do that shit. Like I don't think I could do that shit yet, cause like I be hitting the bag sometimes mad hard, and I be like, yo, you think you can handle what you're dishing out? Like, nah, I don't think so. Cause like, if somebody was to hit me like that, I would be mad fucked up. Like, you have to go through a level of conditioning to be able to dish out and like get back what you're, you know.
Yeah, like you ask fighters like what it's like to be kicked or whatever, and they'll tell you like if they get kicked in the head or kicked in the leg, they literally say it feels like you're getting hit with a baseball bat.
Yeah. Well, I was fighting an amateur, when I was sparring with him, just hard sparring with him, and we had shin guards on, but like very thin shin guards. But he was kicking like hard as fuck. He was working my legs, and I didn't know how to block. I thought I was hot shit, and I thought like I could like get away with it. And I was doing it a little bit by just side kicking him, but he was getting across from that. He was like, fuck that shit. I'm just gonna bully you every time you try to race for a side kick. Because for a minute, I was just like distancing him a little bit. But he realized what I was doing. He was like, nah, fuck that. And he just started like coming in with like mad leg kicks and shit. And mad like straights. Like real Dutch style like kickboxing. And I'm there like, holy fuck. Like, even blocking the kicks is like scary as fuck.
I was just about to say that too. I was just about to say, like, there's times where a fighter, what was his name? Filipino wrecking machine. I'll remember it when I'm not trying to. He fought Lyoto Machida, and Lyoto Machida threw a kick, and he blocked it. He threw a head kick and he blocked it. Even though he blocked it, it still knocked him out.
Yeah, because it's the force, like the level of force. If it passes through the guard, it's getting through.
Yeah, like someone can kick you, you can check the kick, but it's still gonna hurt. Like someone can punch you, you can block it with your arm is still gonna hurt. Who is saying this? Roberto Duran, right? He was like how if you want to learn how to beat like the Philly shell stance, just punch the shit out of their arms. And he was like, just keep punching arms. Eventually their arms are gonna go dead. And they can't do it anymore.
That's why like when I used to train people in boxing, like
It's a Polaroid.
I used to tell them like, yo, do not default to that shit.
I think it still works.
Just don't. Like even though it's like an easy way to roll off punches, and I'm not gonna be malicious and punch their arms because I'm trying to train them. Something because you told me that like last year, like that was like after I finished training people and shit. But something in me was like, yo, just stick to your basic, like both hands up to your chin. Like tell people that whenever you try to do that shit, like snap them out of it and be like, yo, go back to your basic guard. Because yeah, if you don't know what you're doing with that shit, yeah, you get your arms punched up, numbed up. That is smart. I didn't know about that until like you had told me. But
Mark Munoz, that's what his fucking name was. But yeah, like eventually, like, you just keep hitting their arms. I don't think you're gonna score any points off it, but if you just keep punching their shits, eventually they can't hold their arms up any longer. So
Don't fall.
yeah, I just didn't know about that shit. I just like, yo, this, cause for some reason I felt like, yo, you can't do that in the street. Like you can't do that on the street. I mean, you could to some extent, but it can only get you so far. Because you're gonna be more in the defensive and less on the offensive.
would you rather be a UFC fighter and fight in a cage, or be a street fighter?
A UFC fighter.
Exactly. I'd be a UFC fighter 100%. Why? Because at least they're skilled. Street fighters, you don't know what the fuck they're gonna do. If you get knocked out in the UFC, the ref pulls it off. You get knocked out in the street fight, who knows what could happen to you? You'll wake up, your shoes are fucking gone. Like I'd rather be a UFC fighter.
People think that shit is cute in the comment section, like for real. Like when they be commenting like MMA posts, they think it's like a game, and like I don't know, they think it's a cliche. Like when people tell them, I don't know, like not even like the hidden so much, but just like how much you can endure, right? As a person. Because I used to think like I used to think I could endure a lot until like I sparred that dude, and I was like, nah, that's just the beginning. Like when you have to do hard sparring sessions like that every week, and you know, condition your body so your legs could like, when you guard, you're not scared anymore, you know.
Yeah.
There's certain things like you have more, because like it takes a lot of commitment to guard kicks like that, and I had to like realize the hard way, because like when he did that shit, he had kicked my leg right out of my leg. Like I know what Owen Hart was talking about with that shit, and I don't know if people know about that shit. Like when you don't like commit to it, you can get like the lower part of your like leg kicked.
Yeah.
It kicks in sometimes. You can get kicked out too. But yeah, that shit was crazy. I'm like, I don't think those people can handle that shit. Did you ever see that that video, yo? With with the mom? The video. Did you see that video with the mom? The soccer mom who went into the cage and just and just gloved up.
And just got blown up.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like, and what they don't say about punches is like Francis Ngannou and like Dan Henderson. Like, if you ask fighters who fought Dan Henderson, they'll tell you that the way he punches, it sends like shockwaves through your body. Like your legs feel it.
I picture my fight going, like my first fight going like that. If I was in like like my first MMA fight, before like I need to do kickboxing or some boxing shit before I even go into the MMA shit, in my opinion. Or at least like a grappling like grappling like jiu-jitsu fucking competitions. So at least I can feel like comfortable on the floor and I don't like overexert energy. Like that shit. When that lady, right, she stepped in the ring, right? I imagine like if I was to step in a ring right now, I'll be like that, like just like her, like a deer in headlights. I would think I'd be doing some shit, but like, nah, then you get the poopy feeling in your stomach and it's done. You know you're not fully trained for that shit.
And what's crazy is people call it GSP pussy for this, which doesn't make sense. But he said he's terrified whenever he fights. He's like, before he fights, he says he's like fighters don't want to tell you this, but he's like, how I'm terrified when I fight. He does it anyway, but
that's why I don't like kind of shit on Rhonda, like how I only shown the way how she left, but like and how she handled the shit, but I don't shit on her like leaving necessarily because like I would like to get that record and leave. Even if I had like a couple losses underneath the shit.
Yeah, it's like fuck it, you made your money. You don't have to get punched in the head anymore. Especially if there's a company that's like, yo, we'll pay you more than what the UFC is paying, and you don't have to take literal punches and kicks to the head.
Yeah, of course, why not? Because it is scary. You don't know if you can be like Pritchard of Cologne or whatever with that guy. That nigga, like, he looked so healthy before that shit. Not to say like UFC will let that happen. But how often do you want to keep fighting until like one wrong move with your chin go into your neck or you know?
The perfect example.
Your brain.
Yeah, like the perfect example is Edson Barboza versus Terry Adam. Terry Adam was this really good fighter. Like, he was an up-and-comer. Like, even Dana White was talking about him. Like, everyone thought he was going to be, like, this huge prospect until he fought Edson. And Edson did the, like, everyone knows it, the spin kick KO.
Yeah.
And, like, his body stiffened up and everything.
Yeah.
After that fight, he was literally never the same. He lost fights. His chin wasn't the same anymore. Like, the person he was before Edson was not the person after.
And you know, it's probably like an equilibrium thing too, because when you get hit too hard, like you probably in like this trip where like, let's say like you're fighting, your anxiety is a little bit up because you're in a real life situation type trip. Even though it's like a controlled area, it's like you still in like a threat of getting knocked out in temple or whatever. So you still like, you know, heighten anxiety. So you're breathing a lot. And like you're taking damage and shit. Then like you're trying to process like certain things, but like you can't even get a balance. You're just like out of breath and you're just trying to figure your footing out. You probably was going through that shit.
Yeah, like, people don't know, like, when people be like, see people get knocked out, like, getting knocked out, getting hit in your chin, like, your brain literally rattles across your head.
Yeah.
That's why shaken baby syndrome is a thing. Like, your brain is bouncing across your skull.
And not only that too, like, they're taking that damage sometimes in sparring.
That's why some fighters don't even spar. Max Holloway, he doesn't spar. He said he was just like, I don't spar before fights anymore. Donna Cerrone said it, he was like, I don't spar before fights. And they were like, why? He was like, because I already know how to fight.
Not even like a light spar? Like that's a preparation type shit?
Like a light one, yeah, but like anything outside of that, nah. There used to be a gym, Shoot the Box. It was Vanderlei Silva, Lyoto Machida, Anderson Silva, and they would fight to knock each other out, yeah.
I used to watch videos on that.
That's insane. Like, imagine you get knocked out before a fight.
Yeah, like, that was a different era too. They were the meathead era. They weren't caring about their brain health like that. And
yeah.
I don't know how it is to have a conversation with Juan and Silva.
I'm in.
One, because I'm not Brazilian.
hold on.
I don't know, like, I'm not around his circle, but I don't think he could hold, I don't know if he holds a good conversation anymore.
That's why I'm happy that you see like some fighters that like Daniel Cormier, Rashad Evans, Paul Felder, like they're still very articulate even after their careers. Like they're able to commentate and do all this other stuff. There are football players who can't do that shit no more.
Yeah. Get out when you're smart. Get out and know what you could handle and shit.
That's why I'll never. There was a time where I think there was a football team in Global at one point, and
yo, them niggas used to lose every time.
Our teams were terrible. Like our baseball team always lost, our basketball team always lost, football team always lost. So like, I remember we were playing football at the gym outside, and I scored 3 touchdowns. One I caught, another one someone threw to me and I ran it, and I ended up charging through Richard, and I like knocked him over and I scored a rushing touchdown. The third one I caught, and I was waiting for the shuttle. Huh?
Wasn't he on the football team?
Was he?
Because I remember that. Didn't they have like a football team for a split second?
Yeah, if so, he shouldn't have been. If I'm able to do that, it was flag football at that. So all you had to do is just move to the side and grab the flag.
Why we should have been in that shit, yo. Oh
man, especially how fast I was. Like the way I would break people's ankles on a daily at gym. So like, I was waiting for the shuttle, and the big nigga Tafari was just like, yo, you should join the football team. You can, if you gain a few more. And that's the thing, I was skinny as shit back then. I was like a good like 140 something, 150, 160 probably. So he was just like, you can be like a running back. And I'm like, no thank you. And he was like, why? I'm just like, brain damage. Rather not.
Because even though they're doing that shit, I mean, they're still wearing gear, right? What was it? It was what? Flag football? What is that?
Yeah. It was, we were playing flag football in gym, but the actual football thing, it's legitimate contact.
Oh, yeah, okay, so what they were doing, yeah. But they were losing a lot.
All they did was lose. It was terrible. They were terrible. Like, especially the girls' basketball team. They were terrible. They were so bad. And what made it worse is they lost, like, 80-something to, like, 7 or some shit like that.
Wasn't it so bad that they had to split into Team A and Team B, and they had to play against each other?
Exactly. We made fun of them so badly. Like Makita was in the team, and I remember us being like, "Yo, Makita, your team is trash," and she would get so mad. Yo, how do you lose 80-something to 7? Yo, that's a football score. Like, how do you? Oh man, 7 points in 4 quarters.
Niggas had the clock running unmercifully. Like, yo, we gonna see this one all the way out. We gonna see this one all the way out like a funeral procession.
That's a mercy rule. Like, you should just been like, yo, just end the game. We're not catching up.
You're gonna be crying. Yo, that shit is so funny.
Yo, I can get Shinobi strikers for $6.
What?
Yeah, Naruto to Boruto Shinobi striker.
That's the latest one.
It was $60, and now it's at $6. But
that's the one with Boruto in it.
Yeah, it's the one where you create your own ninja. You get to choose like the village and like the moves and shit, and you fight other ninjas and shit like that. It doesn't really have a story mode. It's mostly online fighting other ninjas. Yeah, I've seen videos of someone using like Amaterasu, Kamui, like all this other shit.
Ooh, can we play with each other with that shit?
Yeah. You can pick the village, my guy.
Oh, I'm gonna leap all the way though.
You're a cop out. I'm choosing the Stone Village.
Ew, them niggas, Super Mario looking niggas.
The black niggas, yeah. With Killer B and shit like that. That's the stone?
Nah. They're the cloud.
Clouds. Look at me.
Clouds are cool. I fuck with the clouds.
The rainbow is just for people to make fun of me. Yo, Avengers are still doing. The Avengers game is still doing shit.
It's good. I heard people said it's really good, and from what I saw, like they have a lot of good storylines for that shit.
They added a Spider-Man thing now too.
Yeah, but even beforehand, like they had something with the Hulk, like Maestro.
Which is a paradise.
And he's like the post-apocalyptic Hulk. And
War Hulk? No,
I think
Planet Hulk.
Well, I think it's either Planet Hulk that goes smart. I don't know if that's the universe, or I don't know if they're the same. I gotta look into it more. I haven't really like read up the Hulk too much.
I'm gonna download The Sims. Why not?
Sims?
The Sims, yeah.
Yo, I remember I used to play that on my computer when I was a kid.
I forgot I bought this shit.
And I didn't know how I had them dead. Like, I didn't know how they died. They just died one night. Like,
Yeah, me either.
and niggas became ghosts.
That's definitely Mom's handwriting.
I put a Christmas on, just go from there.
Word, like the wife was dead. With the like the husband and was like still alive and the child was still alive. I didn't get how. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Nathan.
Don't ain't in the new ones now they show how they get killed. Like they have like a murder weapon like laying around and you can investigate it yourself and all that shit.
So what now?
I'm not sure. Is it like that now? I think I saw something like that.
For the police.
Might be like tripping balls.
Yeah, you don't want to have to deal with that headache.
Stop.
I mean, the hassle of ruining 2 kids' lives, that's...
I really don't want to shoot you.
There's no harm, no foul, alright?
We all must face the consequences for our actions.
What other games on?
The niggas need to bring back the PlayStation home.
I brought him down here so he could see how
Oh man,
that's it, he had nothing to do with this.
PlayStation home?
They need to bring that shit back.
Man.
That this is all on me.
No.
Yo, I remember I
Man,
used to get home.
what we had, it was gone.
Yo, I remember I used to get home after class and go on that shit with John to go pick up bitches. niggas will be in the PS home. What do you call it? Like shopping mall hub area where it's like mad big and shit. Like they started to develop it actually pretty good to the point where like, you could hang around people. It was good. Like it was like a good community. I don't know why they cut it off. I guess it's because like the.
I think so. I guess that's all that needs to be done. Just wasn't worth it.
Yeah, I know, but like nobody would like want to play Grand Theft Auto and get grief all the time, right? So like people want it like a thing to like meet up. I think it's a perfect time for them to do that shit again. Bring back PS.
They should have done it like during the pandemic.
Yeah. Made it VR compatible and shit and all that shit. They could have banked off that. Yeah, niggas dumb.
We need to be like.
I'm sorry.
That's what I was telling my brother that I was like, we need to be some type of producers or some shit. Because remember The Rock? But I was telling you about The Rock and Gal Gadot and this other dude. After they finished filming that Netflix movie, how they wanted to fund a Marvel vs. DC movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yo, why not? Like,
Francis Drake's mom.
They should start a fucking fundraiser for this shit. Gather up the money themselves. If they care about somebody, I know they could gather the influence to do it. All they have to do is just like say the shit and social media, say the shit after WrestleMania, say the shit at a breast cancer walk or some shit, nigga. Like, you know, wherever these niggas show up. Deadpool could say it in his movie or whatever. You know?
Now,
It becomes a pressure. It becomes a pressure to the point they have to do it, and when they do it,
I guess there's a lot I have to let go.
Marvel and DC could finally work within themselves to not fight over their own characters.
Yeah, like the fans, like the reason Zack Snyder Justice League came out is all the fans did was harass for years, like 20, the first, and Zack Snyder came out like last year. So
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so,
it was last year. So for this, and harassing them.
You found your way in.
Someone
I trust you can
got a plane with banners that's released Snyder. Like all this other shit. Conventions, this and that, to the point where it will do it. It's only gonna be on HBO Max. It's only gonna not gonna be that much money to like reach what we're gonna put. And he was fine. All the okay, I think.
So like,
Sam?
yeah, like through the pressure, bro. Through the pressure.
Wait,
they can only do that.
Yeah,
and
we
like,
need to get the hell out of here.
Like if they
Just
are
leave her
very,
here?
which they are influential.
Or we have to run.
Fund
If
the
the
shit.
cops find us here, then this.
Do the shit.
Nathan, we
niggas
gotta go.
To work
Right
within
now.
themselves. To be good. They could finally get their continuity right, you know. Marvel and DC.
If it was Marvel, if it was now it's Disney. Disney. But just be like, if we buy you to do it, if you just don't at all.
But here it is, right? I was telling my brother this too. I was like, yo, they can do an easy cop out, right? Where they don't have to go down the Amalgamated route, where they fuse the fucking people together and still. I mean, they could go down that route if they want to. If they want to get so deep, but that's up to them. They don't have to go down that route, right? They could just like have two movies, right? One where Marvel wins and one where DC wins. I know, very cute, very easy cop out. But it's a once in a lifetime. Like they haven't had a collab like in what 20 years, and that was for their comic book shit. Because like the comic book industry is
very 50-50.
Huh?
That's very 50-50.
Very what? I'm sorry.
Very looking.
I know. I know. But you have to. You have to in this situation.
You have to so people come in.
Huh?
Yeah, so but who knows? Like they might even Marvel wins the first movie. Or does Marvel to win the first movie? Like DC win the first movie.
I know it's gonna get like that. But somebody's gonna have to suck it up. Somebody's gonna have to do a coin toss, like at Comic-Con or some shit, right?
Or
like,
if they really want to get, they'll have to fight. But there's no winner because they have to stop and fight your enemy.
What do you mean stop and fight your enemy?
Let's say Spider-Man versus Captain America, Superman versus Hulk.
No, Superman will murder Hulk.
Well, I know who else can make Superman.
In my opinion, right? In my opinion, it will have to be somebody like a cerebral person. To be honest with you, like a telepath or some shit. Like I feel, I know it sounds stupid, but like somebody like Legion. I think Legion or what's this nigga name? Jim Jaspers, Mr. Molecule Man, or Franklin Richards could take out Superman with ease. With ease.
Okay, fair. Since they got this person playing her Capcom.
Wait, I'm sorry, you're breaking up. I'm gonna have to leave the party because I think this was my fault last time. Hold up. Let me leave and come back. Take out my Wi-Fi for this shit too. Them niggas gonna do the movie, Justin. Don't you worry about it. Niggas about to do the shit. Marvel versus DC movie. If they literally do that shit, if they literally do what I say, we're taking the rights to that, Justin. Nah, if they literally do what I say, we're taking the rights to that shit. Fuck that. We're owning some rights to that. I was like, if they take the rights for that, like if they do the things we're saying, like if they do 50-50 booking, right? They're gonna have to like cut us the end. They're gonna have to cut us a check. Huh?
I said we're gonna sue.
Yeah, I think we have to. We're gonna have to pull some shit.
I'm telling you, all they have to do is go civil war route. That fight in the airport in Civil War, there wasn't a winner in any of those fights. So all they have to do is do that, and then Doomsday mixed together with Ultron.
Ultron.
And
I
know
how to do this one. I know how to do this one. Doomsday gets taken over by the symbiote. Done deal. Because the symbiote, like, currently is like the most fair thing in the cosmic universe in Marvel.
That's fair.
Run! Oh shit! They're
Okay.
bolting!
But yeah, I have in this I could be like, hey, super movie trope, let's work together. Do shit up.
On the bike! Now, come on!
Like, yeah. But Marvel...
Alright, hold on tight!
Like, alright. Who do you see, like, fighting, like, on your thing? Wait, Wonder Woman versus who?
Four.
I'm sorry, you're breaking up.
I'd say we're clear.
You're breaking up, it's you.
I'm breaking up.
But we catch our breath for a second.
I came out the party. I don't know. They try not to get this movie out.
Stop the video.
Some night, huh?
Hold up. Just now, let me check my Wi-Fi real quick. I don't know why I have to keep doing this shit with my Wi-Fi.